All right. How you guys doing? I ran into an issue on my home internet. If you stick with this video for a little bit, you'll probably get something out of it. I'm going to make this fairly simple on what to do to diagnose if you're having very slow internet or intermittent internet, or you have to reset your modem from your internet provider a lot, and stuff like that. And I'm not going to go through a full troubleshooting, but I'm going to show you how to figure out if the issue is with your internet service provider outside of your home or place that you're using your internet, or if it's with your devices inside your home. Because what happens is if you have an internet issue, almost all the time, ISPs, internet service providers like Comcast or Xfinity or whatever you have, they're not good. They don't want to deal with issues. Basically, they have terrible customer service. So when you call them, if you're having internet issues, they'll reset your modem, right? And that's all they can do. They'll look to see if they're connected to your modem, and if you have a connection to the modem, they'll reset the modem, and they'll say everything's fine on our side, right? But sometimes it isn't fine on their side. Sometimes you're getting tons of drop packets, and you may not know, and I'll explain what that is and how to diagnose if it's on their end or on your end. But yeah, they don't do anything. They'll reset your modem, and if you have a connection to the modem, they'll say, oh yeah, it's working, it's fine. And that'll be that. They won't do anything to help you. So I'm going to show you, and if there is an issue with your internet service provider, I'm going to show you how to get evidence so that you can give it to them and prove to them, look at what's happening. This is on your end, and you guys need to fix it. And at that point, after you do that, they will fix it. And if it isn't on their end, it's on your end. I'm going to tell you a couple things. First, how to figure out if it's on your end, and then a couple directions to go to try to resolve it. So I had an issue, and I didn't know this at the time, and it's been going on for months, like 6 months maybe, but it wasn't bad enough for me to really realize I had an issue until recently. And the end of the story is the issue was I got a puppy, Boston Terrier, that for the last year or 12 months, I guess, probably when he was a puppy. I don't think he does it anymore, but he was chewing on the cable, the RG50 or RG6 cable, which is the coax cable that comes in the house and goes to the modem, and then the modem turns that into internet cable or Ethernet or wireless, and then gives you internet. So he chewed through the coax cable, but not all the way. So it was a bad connection. I'm sure it was grounded out on itself because they have the copper cable in there, and then they have some like tin or aluminum mesh, on the outside of it. And if that touches, it'll ground out, and, or the connection was just broken. But it wasn't broken all the way. But it got bad enough to the point where it was chewed through enough that I was resetting the modem for the last like 3 weeks, maybe once a week. And I hadn't had to reset it for years before, the last, I don't know how long. But every now and then the internet would go out and I'd reset the modem and it would work. But I did notice, and my dog's actually on my lap right now, so if I have to yell at him or he moves around and hit the mic, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, the issue wasn't bad enough to where I really knew I had an issue. I was like, oh, something's weird with, Xfinity, it's a little slower than usual, or at this time of the day I thought, yeah, it's a little slower than usual. Maybe there's traffic. I think maybe Xfinity throttles people's internets during peak time, and I had to reset the modem. But a couple days ago, it got so bad that when I would go to load YouTube, it took only some of the thumbnails would show up, and it would take like 30 seconds to load this page or something. And I have pretty fast internet. So I was like, okay, there's something definitely wrong. So what I did, and if you guys have a router that is able to tell you if you're getting loss, so I can show you, it'll make a little bit more sense. And like I said, here, I got to get my dog off me. Go away. Like I said, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. I'm going to show you my modem real quick, just so you can see what I was looking at. And what I have for, or not modem, router. So what I have is I don't use the default Xfinity, the modem and router combo that your internet service provider gives you, which most people are going to use. I have my own modem that I own, and then for router, I use an actual regular computer, a small form factor one, and I installed pfSense on it, which is what we're looking at here, and this is my router. So some routers may be able to show you more information than others. You're not going to need to do any of this part right here to be able to troubleshoot like I'm going to show you. It's going to be pretty easy if you stick with me here a minute. But what I did is, once I knew, okay, there's something going on with the internet, it's not working. When it is working, it's extremely slow. So immediately I thought, well, maybe an Ethernet cable is going bad. So I replaced the Ethernet cable going from the modem to the router, and that didn't fix anything. So then I logged into my router here. And I logged into my router here, and I went to status and gateways. And then I looked at this, and it actually had a loss of 49%, meaning that half of my internet traffic was getting dropped. And by dropped, I mean this. And I'm going to show you how to do all this. So if I ping google.com and then I do a /T, it's going to continuously ping Google. And it's sending out little bits of information and then getting a reply back. And this tells you that you have a connection to Google or whatever you're pinging, right? This IP address, which is a Google server, right? And so half of these were being dropped. It would say something like timed out or whatever. They won't come back with a time in this info. It'll be like blank here, and it'll just say timed out, or there's different errors it'll come back with depending on what's going on. But you can see right now my internet's good. It's rock solid. I don't have lost packets on my internet. It's really good. My home network inside is really good, and my computers are almost all wired. I only use wireless for like tablets and cell phones and stuff like that. And even the wireless in my house is pretty rock solid. So when I did this ping test out to Google, which is what I'm going to show you how to do so you can actually troubleshoot where the issue is if you're having this issue. When I did it, the first 3 packets were lost, and then like only half of them were getting through. So I was like, okay, this is bad, right? And so now I guess, you don't have to do any of that. You can do this, and I'll show you here. Let's see, where'd that go? Here. So I made this little network diagram. It's not fancy. It doesn't look great. It's just visual, so you can understand what I'm about to show you. So the computer that we're on right now is my computer, and this is the IP address of it. I have another computer, which is just a computer, but I use it kind of as a server. So I call it server. That's the name of the computer, and that's the IP address. Then I have my pfSense router, which is a computer that's a router. I installed pfSense, which is software on it, and it turns a computer into a router like you would buy at a store, more or less, but with much better features. And that's the IP address of my router. And then I have my cable modem. So these two computers are plugged into the router, and then the router has an Ethernet cable going to the modem, and then the modem has a coax cable, going out into the internet, right? So you need to figure out, if you're having internet issues like this, where you're losing packets, you need to figure out, is the issue here in my house? Can I get data from one computer to another? Can I ping or get a connection or send data back and forth without dropping any data from my computer to the router? And then can I ping and send data out to the internet without losing any, right? Because if the issue is in your house, that's your fault. You're going to have to fix something. You're going to have to figure out what's going on. But you can fix and troubleshoot everything in the world. It's not going to do anything if the issue isn't in your house and the issue is outside of your house somewhere down the line with your internet service provider. So to do that, you need to open up a command line prompt. You can open a Windows on a computer here and type CMD, and you'll get this. And then I right click and run as administrator most times. And I have a bunch of these windows open, so I'm going to pull up 3 of them, actually 4 of them, because I'm going to show you what to do. And you may not know the IP addresses of your gateway and computers, so I'm going to show you how to figure that out. The first thing you need to know is an IP config, and then you hit enter. And then you can do an IP config /all, which will give you more information. And what you're looking for is the IPv4 address. My dog's whining. I'll let her whine. I don't know what she wants. She's old. She whines for stuff. Maybe she wants out. I don't know. Anyway, you do an IP config, and you're looking, and we're on my computer right now. And like I said, on this, my computer is 10.0.0.14. And that's what this is. So that's the IP address. But what you want is the default gateway. So, and the default gateway is the closest gateway out to stuff outside of your internet. So almost always the default gateway is going to be the same first 3 numbers, and then the last number should be a 1. Usually that's how it'll go. So if your IP address is 10.0.0.14, the default gateway usually is going to be 10.0.0.1 or 192.168.0.1 or whatever the first 3 numbers are, and then a 1. There's reasons for that, but it's not important for this. I just want to show you how to find the IP address of the computer you're on, and then the IP address of the gateway. And the gateway is just going to be your router or cable modem, if it's a cable modem router combo. And again, it's the first router to get you outside of the internet, out to the internet, or out to a different network. That's what a gateway is. So it's usually a router, again, that gets you out to a different network, because you need to be able to route traffic, because pretty simply you can talk to other devices on the same network, but once you're on a different network, like say 10.0.1.0, any different network or out on the internet, it gets a little more complicated for the machines. They need to be able to know how to route the traffic to get there. Anyway, that you don't really need to know that, but I'm just trying to explain stuff. So what you need to do is start a couple pings, right? So I'm going to start a ping, which the command is ping space, and then either the IP address or name. So we're going to do the server first, 10.0.0.12, which is my other computer. It's just another computer in my house. And then we're going to do -T, and that's going to continuously ping it, because if you don't do -T, it's only going to do it 3 times or 4 times, right? So we're going to do -T, and it's just going to send a continuous ping. And we're looking for dropped stuff. If we don't get dropped packets, somewhat quickly, then it's probably good. You can also, let me show you one more command. CMD. You can ping. You can what am I saying? You can if you want to leave the ping running overnight and have a log of it, which if the issue is outside your house and it's on Comcast or your internet service provider's end, you're going to need to do this to be able to have logs to prove to them that your guys' connection is not good. You guys need to fix this because my internet isn't working and I'm paying for it. It's too slow, it's intermittent, it's just bad. And it's on your end, it's not on my end. Because if you tell them, if they can't fix something really quick with a reset or whatever, like we talked about at the beginning, they're not going to do anything unless you can show them that it's on their end. They're going to tell you it's something on your end. Like, you need to check all your stuff. That 100% of the time, almost, that's what they're going to tell you. And I work in this field, or I did for many years, and as a network engineer, and I've only ran into one internet service provider, and it was a small one out in a small town that took the responsibility and actually tried to fix stuff without being forced to by the burden of proof. So all these big guys, Comcast and all these other ones, Cox Communications, whatever, they're not gonna help you unless you can prove to them. So we do like this -T, and the -T makes it continuous, like I said, and then you do this little guy. I don't know what it's called, the forward arrow, and then you're gonna tell it, I'm gonna do C:\\, and that's just where you're gonna put the file, and then ping server.txt, and that tells it to ping this continuously and make a file. So if we go look at the C drive, we can see it right here, ping server. And if we open it up, pull it over here, we can see what it's pinged so far. So if you leave that running overnight or for 24 hours, it's going to give you a longer time and a better idea of if there are any issues. Because, if you have a broken cable or an intermittent issue, you need to have a longer period of time than just like an hour or a few minutes. So make sure you do this and keep logs of it until you figure out what's going on. Now, here, let's not save that. So let me show you what you do to figure out where the issue is. Is it in your house or is it outside of outside, and is it the cable provider's issue? So you want to start ping google.com/t. This is going to ping out to Google. So this is going to tell you if you're able to get out to the internet. And then you want to do ping, and you want to do your default gateway. So in my case, it's 10.0.0.1. But whatever your default gateway is when you did the IP config, so basically whatever your router is, you want to do that and do a continuous. So this is pinging. I have one right now pinging out to the internet from this computer here, is pinging, out to Google, out to the internet. And then I have another ping from this computer going to here, 10.0.0.1, which is my router. And then if you want, those are the two most important. It's nice if you can do a third one to another, if you have more than one computer in your house or more than one device. You don't really want to do this with wireless unless your issue is only wireless. If you have wired devices, it's better to do that, because wireless can drop some packets. It's probably gonna every now and then, but it shouldn't drop a ton of them. So ping 10.0.0.12-T. All right. So you leave these running. You can look at them. Like I said, in my case, I'll tell you what was happening in my case and what it meant. And this third one, pinging another computer, isn't as important as pinging the gateway and pinging out to the internet. When I did this test the other day, I could ping my router. I could ping 10.0.0.1 just fine. I could ping another computer from this computer just fine. So these two were okay. But this one was out to the internet, was just dropping packets like crazy. And that told me that everything's fine with my computer, and everything's fine in my house to the point of the modem, right? Because I could ping the router, but I couldn't ping past the router without a ton of losses. So what I did then, after I did this test, I knew, okay, I have to check the coax cable and the Ethernet cable on my modem. I need to check the cables on this device, my modem. So I checked the Ethernet cable going to the pfSense router here, and then I went to go check the coax cable that comes into the house and plugs into the modem, and that's when I found that the coax cable was chewed through. And also, I used to install DirecTV satellite, and I've seen coax cables being chewed up from squirrels, and I don't know if there's other animals, but squirrels for sure will chew through coax cables on roofs or the side of the house or wherever. So if you are having internet issues or really any troubleshooting issues, you always want to start with the simplest thing. And the simplest thing is to physically check stuff. Are power cables plugged in? Are the physical cables okay? Are they cut through? Are they frayed? Do you have an extra one? Swap it out, see if it fixes the issue, because it takes the least amount of time and it's the easiest thing to do. But you can see from my test, so if I was having issues pinging the server, that would tell me that there's an issue with the cable between here or something going on my computer, right? It would be in this area. And then if I couldn't ping, like, let's say I could ping the server just fine, or sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. If you can ping the gateway just fine, but you can't ping, or you're losing packets going out to the internet, then it's an issue with Comcast. Because you can ping inside your network just fine, but you drop packets out to the internet, it's an issue with them. If you're dropping packets both out to the internet and to your gateway, then it's an issue with either your router or an network card or a cable or some setting inside your house. It's your issue at that point, because whether you have internet connection or not doesn't matter. You don't even need internet connection to ping from this computer to this computer, or from this computer to your router, right? You don't need internet connection for that. So your internet could be completely down. You can still do that. So that's how you troubleshoot it, by pinging and seeing where the issue happens. After that, after you do that, say the issue's inside your house. Like I said, check physical cables, check the coax cable outside. If you have barrel connectors, check that. Replace cable splitters. If you have a cable splitter and are splitting off into different coax cables, replace that splitter, and then check all the ends of the coax cable. Because let me try to get a picture here. Yeah, here you go. If you have at the end of the coax cable, when the end is on it that you screw on, this is what it looks like in there. And if any of these little silver frays push through the end of that the end of it, and they end up touching the copper, it'll actually ground it out, and it's bad, and you have to replace the end of the cable. So check all your cable ends for that, and then just check and see if the wires, chewed up or broke, or if there's any issues with it. Also, kinks in the cable, like sharp kinks or 90-degree turns, stuff like that, can actually break this copper, especially if it's cold out and you're moving the wire around, and that can cause an issue too. Other than that, other issues that can cause it, if you have a motherboard, or if you're using software like some type of program on a computer or even a phone or anything that manages stuff with your internet speed, like I've seen drivers for motherboards that come with it and like boost your internet speed or whatever, uninstall that stuff. That stuff causes more issues than anything else. Virus scanners and firewalls, if it's just an issue on one computer but not the other computers in the house, and you have some virus scanner on there that is also a firewall and does all this internet stuff or internet speed or managing traffic, if you have any software on your computers that says it manages internet traffic across your network, that stuff always causes more issues than it does anything good. I've seen that type of software just cripple customers' computers. And I'm not even talking about, home users. I'm talking about companies, small companies, single owner type companies, where they have a server doing something which is really just a computer, and they somehow have this, crap software installed that says it, helps your internet traffic and manages stuff and throughput and what have you. Don't install anything like that and uninstall it if it's on there, because it just causes issues. I've seen it cause issues more time than not. But other than that's basically how you troubleshoot it. Do the pings, see if it's coming inside or outside, what have you. And here's one last thing. If you do find out that the issue is with Comcast or whatever your internet provider is, do what I did, get the ping logs and save the ping logs. And when you call them up, let them reset the modem and go through their troubleshooting. And I guarantee you, before you tell them you have logs and explain what you did, they will try to tell you it's on your end. At that point, you need to say, look, I ran, and you should be talking to technical support, and you should get it escalated. You probably will need to get it escalated up a level, and you need to tell them, look, I pinged. I tell them you ran a ping test from your computer to another computer in the house, and you ran a ping test from your computer to your router. You had 0 drop packets going to another computer and going to the router. The only drop packets I had were going out to the internet. That means that the issue is on your end, but you also have to do your due diligence and check your coax cable and all that stuff. And they may want to replace the modem. If they say everything's good, they'll try replacing the modem. It'll probably still happen because it's probably farther down the line, usually, but they'll replace the modem. If it's still happening, you call them and they'll go through their troubleshooting stuff, and they may have to improve their backbone or what have you, So anyway, that's how you do it. And like I said, if it's on their end, that's kind of how you deal with them. And it can be a long path. It's taken, 6-8 months going through this, where the ISPs will try something and then still doesn't work, and so on and so on. If you're a company, it's easier because they guarantee a certain amount of uptime and whatever. If you're a home user, I'm not sure what their policy is, but if you're losing half your pings or half your internet traffic and it's on their end, that's unacceptable because you're paying for it. So anyway, have a good day, guys. I hope you got something out of this video. If you're having internet issues, don't be afraid to try to troubleshoot it yourself and do some investigation, and then call up the